I've helped over 4,000 people. Two of my clients are millionaires.
Amazing.
I've had about 6, maybe 7, make $100,000 in a day. And it's just been amazing.
That must be such an exhilarating feeling when you see the people that you're teaching come back with those results and change their lives.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm Lisa Hugo, and I am obsessed with helping other people find their voices so they can go out and take on the world, be seen as an authority, an expert, and grow their business by sharing that knowledge and expertise with others. Now, I studied performing arts, and I spent 20 years of my career traveling the world as a professional singer-songwriter. I teach you the secrets to speak up and be heard, overcome your fears, and then use these skills to build a business and a life that you love and that could change both your own life and the lives of others. This is your one-stop shop for all things that are going to help you to build a life on your terms. This is Impact Through Voice. Well, hey there, and welcome back to the Impact Through Voice podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Hugo, and here we are in 2025, and this is our very first guest episode for 2025. And I'm very excited about today's guest. I'm sitting here with Dr. Kelli Du Cloux. Now, Kelli is a change agent. She's an educator, and she is using her voice to make an impact. I'm going to let her take the stage and introduce herself. Welcome to the show, Kelli.
Thank you so much, Lisa. It is a pleasure being here. I'm so excited to share with you and the audience the things that I do, the impact I have, and the way I can help people. It's exciting.
I am so excited to have you on as well. Now, I only got to know of you just basically a few weeks ago because we're both working with the same mentor.
Yes.
And then I started doing some research on who is Kelli. She's coming to Dubai. I think she's definitely someone I want to get to know.
Sweet.
And then the more I got to know more about you, the more I thought, you have to come on my podcast because you're all about making an impact. You are, as I said, making an impact with your voice. So give us an introduction first. Who is Dr. Kelli?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So I am an educator change agent. That's who I am. I believe when I first heard the term change agent 20-something, 30 years ago, I was like, that's me. I want to impact people. I want to help change people. I'm a teacher. I actually fell into teaching by accident. We're given these programs when we're children. You're going to go to school and become a doctor, a medical doctor. Okay, so I'm supposed to become this, right? So when I went to university, UCLA, I was medical doctor. I majored in psychobiology. Okay, cool. Well, what happened was when I finished my degree, the student loan people came after me. So I was like, okay, let me get a job in the meantime while I'm studying for the MCAT, the Medical College Admissions Test. While I'm studying to take the test, let me go ahead and get a job so I can pay the student loan people. And so I started teaching in South Central LA. Math science teacher. Absolutely loved it. I was like, oh my God, I would do this for free.
Oh, really?
And I had to call my mom and dad and have that conversation. I'm not going to be the medical doctor you guys, the brain surgeon you guys wanted. Is that going to be all right? And thank goodness they were like, do whatever makes you happy.
Wow.
And that's how I accidentally fell into my purpose.
Teaching.
Of teaching. And now, after all these years later, when I look back on my life, I'm like, I was a teacher all the time because I remember being 7 and teaching the 5-year-olds around me. I remember being 13 and teaching and I'm like, oh, but see, we're not allowed in our lives to have our own lives when we're 8 and 9 and, seek our own vision. We're told what we're supposed to be.
Well, I think the school system sets us into a certain regime of this is how we are teaching you to go into the workforce, to take on a specific role. What do you want to be when you grow up? And I think the education system needs a bit of a workaround.
For sure. And as somebody who I taught everything from kindergarten to college, what you're saying is exactly true. The U.S. educational system has a lot to fix. There's so much to be fixed.
Not just the U.S.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know that. And so understanding, and I taught everything from math to science to history to English. I taught everything at all economic levels, socioeconomic statuses. So I see everything from a wider perspective in terms of it. And the last thing I did was I taught kids who were on probation. That was the last thing I did.
Oh, wow.
Kids who were locked up. All right. And what moved me was, because I always thought I was going to ride off into the sunset of being an educator.
Now, how long were you teaching for before you get to the story?
I probably started teaching 30-something years ago, maybe 30-something years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then fast forward, I'm in the classroom in the juvenile hall system. I'm teaching the girls unit. So there's about maybe 20 girls in the classroom. Okay. Well, I'm always getting new girls in because, probation, somebody gets in trouble, they put them in school. Okay.
Right.
This girl comes in. She's about 4'11". She is visibly 8 months pregnant.
Wow, she's tiny.
Tiny. One day, I'm at the board teaching photosynthesis or whatever it is I'm teaching, and she decides she wants to come fight me. Her second day in my class.
How?
So I'm teaching, and I see she gets up and starts walking toward me. And I was like, you need to go sit down, And then she kept coming. And I was like, you need to go sit down. Put some little bass in my voice to let her know, right? And she kept coming. Now, my students know that I love them. I treat them like they are my children, and they know that. And so they must have saw something in my eyes at that moment, because I had a son who at the time was 7 years old. And my whole thing is I need to get home to my son. And there's no way I'm going to let someone hurt me that's going to endanger me from doing my primary job as being a mom. And so my other students must have saw something in my eyes. And between God and the universe, all of my students, I didn't mind you. I'm now dealing with this girl who's coming up at me. And now I have to get into a pose of, okay, let me be ready for whatever she's finna do. And all the rest of my students got up. I didn't say nothing to them. And they all came and hugged me at the same time.
Wow, what a beautiful moment.
And it just snapped me back.
Yeah.
And she realized, oh, wait a minute. She's got the support of all these other girls. And that's when she went and sat back down. Now, my boss, the district, called me on the floor and told me I was wrong.
Huh?
They told me, oh, you should have done this, and you should have done that, and you should have done this. And I sat down. They called me down to the main office. And I sat down. I looked at every one of them in there, and I said, let me ask you 2 questions. 1, when was the last time you were in the classroom?
Yeah.
And number 2, what did you do when you were faced with the situation I was?
And?
Silence and crickets around the room. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, no, you have no authority to tell me what I should have done in a situation like that. But as I was leaving, I realized I am not going to have the support of the administration.
Yep.
I am not going to be able to ride off into the sunset and be a teacher that did 35 years and, had all these wonderful stories with these students. It's not going to happen because they're going to fire me if this happens again. And I stopped teaching around 2011 or 12. And I know you've probably seen some of the YouTube videos of teachers getting hit with chairs and teachers getting hit with stuff, in 2019, 2020, we've seen all that. I'm glad I moved out of the classroom before that happened.
It's a difficult job, I think, to be a teacher.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know. I've got 2 teenage girls currently who are in their final years of high school, but here in the UAE.
Yes,
and even here in the UAE, it's tough, I think, as a teacher to, even in a private school, you get the attitude of the kids who seem to know all, or they don't want to do the work, or they're going to stand up for themselves. Absolutely. Even if it's not throwing things, it's still going to be a tough job, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So once I realized that, I said, okay, this dream of being this teacher and whatever, it's not going to work. So I said, okay, I'm going to have to go find a way to make money outside of my regular job.
So what was next for you then?
So what was next was, great story. So I have one son, and I've always taught him different things. And I know you say this, but I'm going to share it with your community.
Yeah, please.
My son graduated from high school when he was 12. He was only in the 8th grade.
Now, I heard this morning, and I'm thinking, what? Was it yesterday? I was listening to this, where you shared this story before. And I said to my daughter as well, this lady I'm going to be interviewing tomorrow, her son graduated high school at 12, and my daughter's going, what? So you have to share with us a little bit about
Sure.
How did this come about?
Yes.
So I've got a lot of questions.
Right, exactly. So when I was teaching juvenile hall, I found this, I call them glitches in the matrix, things that aren't the normal. And I'm the type of person that's always like, how hot is the stove?
Okay.
I'm that type of person,
Right, yeah.
you know. Really, there's a
test
glitch
it.
in the matrix. Let me see, you know. So I said, okay, if this is true, that there's a way to get kids to graduate from high school earlier than the norm, let me test it out. So I took my son, who was 11 at the time, and I put him through, I created this program that goes along with this glitch in the matrix. And I think we started in February when he was 11. And by the time we got done in November, he had turned 12 and he graduated from high school.
Well, I mean, first of all, how do you graduate from high school at that age? Or what are the prerequisites to graduate?
Great question. So in the state of California, there's something called the California High School Proficiency Exam. And anybody who passes that test, you're effectively done. Okay? Now, it's not the GED, but it's kind of
I don't know
like
what
that.
the GED, not being in the US.
Oh, okay,
right?
okay. It's the General Education Diploma.
Okay, right.
Okay. So anybody who is not doing well in school, they can go to night school, do the GED. This is kind of the same, but not. And it's one of those things that nobody knows about.
Right, okay.
So when I found out about it, I was like, any kid that takes this test and pass it, they can graduate? Let me see.
Right. The stove is always hot.
Right. You know, so I created a curriculum, and I'm teaching my 11, 12-year-old, I'm teaching him algebra and geometry. I'm teaching him how to do everything he needs to do to pass this test. So most of my books on Amazon are teaching parents the actual way to get their kids. What do they need to learn in math? What do they need to learn in English? What do they need to learn so that they can get their kids to pass? So that's where a lot of my books on Amazon are designated for helping other parents get their kids to pass this test. So he passed the test. So he's done now because he learned everything he needed to learn so he could pass the test.
Okay.
So then he starts college at 12.
Okay, what does he study in college? At the age of 12, you don't even know what you want to do.
Exactly,
So what do you go
exactly.
and study?
Right. So I became the person who I was just telling you about parents. You're going to be a. But if we don't know any better, we can't do any better until we know better.
It's like the parent who, my daughter's going to be the first one to walk, the first one to read, the first one.
Exactly. That's who I became. My son is going to be amazing, just like me. Yes, let's go. So he ended up with a math degree. He ended up with a humanities degree, and he ended up with what was the third one? I think an arts degree. So 3 across the board, So by 15, he had 3 degrees. Graduated 15.
And did he go to a regular college or a night college?
He went to, in California, we have a community college system.
Community college, yeah, I've heard of it. Mm-hmm.
So yes, he did that 3 years, finished at 15.
Okay.
And then he went to the University of California, Irvine, and got his bachelor's degree.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So,
all right.
So,
So from 15, he then went to official university.
Yes.
He graduated at 15 with these degrees from the college university, and then went on to university. I mean, that's
Exactly.
really an incredible story.
Yes,
What is he
yes.
doing today?
So he opened up several businesses because I always taught him. Now, this one thing I did brainwash my son with on purpose. You're going to be a business owner. You're going to be a business owner. From age 7, I would just say that to him all the time. You're going to be a business owner. You're going to be a business owner, whatever, right? And so he opened up his own math tutoring company. He opened up, then he went to opening up, he was teaching people about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin back before it was what it is now.
Okay.
So at 17, he's teaching people that in his university. So he's doing that, which is amazing. And then he opened up his own Airbnb.
Oh, wow.
He had like 5 Airbnbs. And then he opened up his own Turo company. Turo is like the Airbnb for cars, where you just rent your own cars out. Okay, so he did that. And then what other businesses? He had like about 7 or 8 businesses. So now that he's done all that, and now he's 25, he's like, okay, what am I going to do now? So my dad was a fireman. And so now he wants to walk into his grandfather's steps.
Oh, wow.
So now he's studying to be he's a paramedic at EMT, then paramedic, and now he's going to be trying to become a fireman.
I find that so interesting to then go through having your own businesses, but then go back to, let's call it the traditional career of a kid growing up. What do you mean, a doctor, a firefighter?
I want to be like my granddad.
But then it's a choice, right? And it's an educated choice that you want to do it. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh.
And I said to myself, I said, you know what? He has done everything I've asked him to do. Asked, demanded. So, hey, if you want to do your life is now yours. You're welcome. You're welcome. Your life is now yours. Go do you.
All right, let's go back to you then. So
Okay.
you started working with your son to get your son through.
Yes.
What were you doing though for yourself at that time as well?
That's right. That's right. Girl.
You left the education system for teaching. So what is Dr. Kelli, and you're a doctor. You have to tell us what kind of doctor where that comes from.
Yes. So I'm an educational psychologist. I decided to go to USC, which is the rival of UCLA, and get my doctorate in educational psychology. So I'm an educational psychologist.
Okay.
In counseling. So the story was, since my son was already advanced, I would take him out of the regular, because I made him go to regular high school just because he needed to get,
social
socialized.
contact.
Yeah. So go to high school, have fun, but in the evenings, we're going to go to the college. Real stuff is, right?
Oh, wow.
Okay, cool. So one day I took him out of regular school. We went to a Les Brown, Let's Get Motivated seminar.
Les Brown.
And so you know how it's set up. There's 20 speakers. They speak for 30 minutes.
Yep.
And then whenever whoever lights you up, you go sign up for their thing.
Yep.
So my son, he's with me, and he comes to me and says, "Mom, I signed us up to go to the guy who sold a haunted cane on eBay for $5,000." I'm signing up for the real estate thing. I'm signing up for the thing on how to write books. And he comes to me and he says that, and I'm sitting there like, and then it hit me. Wait a minute. You have a teenage son who is excited about something other than video games and girls. You take him to this thing. That's what hit me. So I get there to this thing, see this guy teaching he sold a haunted cane on eBay for $5,000. And I'm sitting there like this. So it's a whole weekend. So on Friday, I'm sitting like that, right? And then I start listening, and I'm like, that sounds interesting.
Body language starts to open up.
And so I completely got into it. And so by the time we were done, I was like, okay, cool. I can open up a business. And from what the guy taught, because I'm a person that takes action immediately. Yep. And so he said, as he's teaching, he says, oh, well, all you got to do, oh, wow, this is good. As he's teaching, he actually says, oh, this is a good thing to buy, and then turn around and put it on Amazon or eBay. And I'm like, okay, action. Boom. I bought the 3 vacuum cleaners for a total of $780. And I turned around, bought them off of Amazon, put them right back on Amazon, and sold them for $1,300 in a period of 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, done, finished. Okay, cool. So that was where I went after I finished school. Okay, after teaching. All right. So I went to that, and I was like, fine. Side of e-commerce. Mm-hmm. So I ended up starting with $800 and turning it into 6 figures in 14 months.
Incredible.
So that's where I went next.
Okay.
And so I started teaching other people, because I'm still a teacher. So I started teaching other people how to do it. I would take people to China, teach them how to find good products, show them how to distinguish this, how to get them sent over, how to put them in Amazon so they create their own businesses. Yes, right? So that's what I did first. Then jumped back into, because I had learned about options trading in the stock market 29 years ago.
Okay. All
right. And at the time, there was no one that looked like me who was doing it, and the prices for the courses were like $20,000. And now I'm a student at UCLA. I don't have that. Mm-hmm. So all I did was read a book and try to figure it out. And I did as best I could. Well, now, fast forward to picking up where we are now. After the Amazon e-commerce, during the Amazon e-commerce, I was like, let me get back into doing the stock market thing, because now I have time. Let me get back into doing it, right?
Cash on the side.
Yeah, absolutely, And so I started doing it. And then I found someone who could educate me in a way that clicked. And I started making money in the stock market. Easily. And I'm like, that's what I was missing 29 years ago. Oh my God. Because at the time, all I could do was afford a book back then. I'm a college student, right? Yep. So I bought the book, read the book, I started doing it, but I didn't have what I needed. I didn't have that.
Which shops, when to get in.
Yes, exactly. So fast forward
magic
now.
Details.
So in 2017, I'm like, oh, that's it. Oh. So then I started doing it, doing well, making money. And my mentor at the time, he knew I was a teacher and educator. And so one day, because I had been thinking, I'm like, I want to go teach other people, right? But I didn't want to be disrespectful to him, And one day he came to me and said, hey, you're good enough now. Go ahead and start teaching other people, because there's going to be people that you're going to reach that I'm not going to reach, and let's go help everybody together.
Awesome that he said that and doesn't hold himself back, or you're going to be my competition, but just opens up.
Absolutely.
And I firmly believe everyone has a market. There's enough space out there for everyone and everything that we do. You should never think, oh, she's my competition. Yeah?
Right. And of course you have to do it right. You have to, be righteous about the way you do it, But it was so great. And then since then, I opened up my company, the Stock Options Trading Academy. And I've been in business now. I'm so excited to say going on 8 years now. We know most businesses fall off by year 5. So I am happy to be able to say that. I have an amazing community. I've helped over 4,000 people. 2 of my clients are millionaires. Amazing. I've had about 6, maybe 7 make $100,000 in a day. And it's just been amazing.
That must be such an exhilarating feeling when you see the people that you're teaching come back with those results and change their lives.
Absolutely.
Turn things around for people.
Right, And it's not even just to say that, I've had people had $1 million and 100,000. When people send me receipts, I call them receipts, proof, because that's one thing I always say. Me and my community members, we are not out here just saying. We are doing and showing.
Okay.
Right? The date, the time of what they bought, the date and time of when they sold it, and you can see how much they made.
Which is proof for what you're able to teach people and get results.
But that's right.
Speaking of this area, though, you've got to be very careful, right, when it comes to disclaimers, and because it's a big thing to go out there and say, we can earn you this amount in this amount of time.
Right.
How do you get around those legalities, let's say?
That's a great question, because when you're on Facebook and all those, you can't, like you just said, you can't do that. What I teach people is I will give you the education that will allow you to make money.
And what you do with this is your own business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you've got that sort of disclaimer in there. These are my results work for me, but we cannot guarantee that you will get the same results.
Absolutely.
But we have seen it work with this person, this person, this person, this person, and this person, so we know that it works.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's amazing because people send me screenshots all the time. I'll get text messages. I'll get messages on Facebook. I get messages on email. Dr. Kelli, thank you so much. I made this much money, and I'm just like,
I'm going to pick your brains a bit after this and get to know a little bit more. Because options trading is different to regular stock trading, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and it's more complex, as I understand
That's
it.
what they make you think.
Yeah.
But, and I have to say, it's because I have taught everything from kindergarten to college. I have taught everything from math to science to history, whatever, that I can teach calculus to a 6-year-old. So when it came to the stock market, and I found the glitch in the matrix, just like I was able to get my son to graduate from high school, I'm like, I can teach people how to invest and make money like this, and it's all I got to do is teach it this way, and they pick it up like this. Oh, let's go. Okay. Let me help people, you know, because my goal is, and I'm so clear on my goals. I'm so clear, when I did my TEDx talk, I had to change my own definition of wealth, because we're taught wealth is an accumulation of goods and money and whatever. But when I did my TEDx talk and the work I did to put into creating and crafting that talk, I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's not what wealth is. Wealth is your impact.
Yeah, I loved that TED Talk, by the way. I watched it more than once. And so I'm interested to talk about this because I've had several people on the podcast who have done TED Talks. Okay, and I have a lot of people who listen who would like to do a TED Talk. I would like to do a TED Talk at some point.
You'd be amazing.
But I was watching from, first your introduction, the way you brought in and you told a story of your childhood. You loved to swing on the swing. Yes. And then you transitioned that into the exhilarating, the excitement that you get from being on super high
zip line.
Exciting, adrenaline rushing activities. Yes. And then to the then crash that's taking us down on that roller coaster to the bottom where you lost $100,000. Right. And then how you brought yourself back up and educated then the audience on it's not about that. And how you had to retrain your own brain. And what I loved is that you did this back and forth of playing with yourself in conversation. And you're jumping back and forth, playing the two different characters of yourself to each other, which is a great technique for speaking. So it was it was a short but sweet and very impactful talk. And I'll put the link for anybody who wants to watch it into the show notes for this.
Yes.
How did you prepare? You said you put a lot of effort into preparing for that TED Talk.
I probably wrote that talk maybe 20 times, if not more.
Yeah.
I sat and I did the talk to myself over and over and over again. I actually created on the floor. So imagine this being the red carpet that the circle is, the red circle. I actually created numbers 1 through 25, and I put them on the floor so that when I stepped on this spot, I knew I'm supposed to talk like this.
Oh, wow,
and when
that's
I
interesting.
step on this number, I know I'm supposed to say this. And when I step on that number, I'm supposed to say that. So now that you know that, when you go back and watch it again, you're going to be like, oh, she's remembering what she's supposed to say on this spot.
That's an interesting technique.
Yeah.
So using numbers on the floor, on this point, I say this.
Yes.
On this point, and I also maybe use a specific gesture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you allow muscle memory and physical spatial memory to help you remember.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a really great tip.
Thank you.
Have you ever heard of David J.P. Phillips?
No.
Oh, right, because he was on my podcast as well. He's a very big presenting master, let's say. He teaches people presenting mastery.
Okay.
And he's done 5 TED Talks.
Okay.
And he talks about the 110 different elements of speaking. And it's down to a little gesture or a tilt of your head or a grin that makes your eyes smile. It's 110 little movements that make up to being an incredible presenter. And so when you talk about these spots, and they just trigger that memory of speaking with him about the different elements. You also use your voice beautifully.
Thank you.
You play with your voice. You've got ups, you've got downs. You understand how to bring people down. It's not, you've got a very high energy, but you also know how to bring it down. So,
well, thank you.
Do you know
for
what?
that.
I'm going to ask you this now on camera. What I would like to do is I'd like to do a little breakdown of your TED Talk. It's very good, and do that for social media. Would you mind?
I wouldn't mind at all. And thank you, because you are a speech coach. So you're telling me that I did great. That makes me feel awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yes, I'll be a student. Let's go.
Compliments. How many hours did you prepare? Have you got sort of a calculation? Normally you get about 3 months in advance before you even know you're going to do a TED.
That's a great. So first of all, I was notified 1 month before.
Oh, wow. That's a short period.
So, yeah. So I think it was May 4th. Yeah, because I remember saying, May the 4th be with you. I was thinking about saying that in my TEDx talk. But yeah, so on April 4th, I was notified. So I had to immediately get to work, writing it and rewriting it and sending it to other people. What do you think? What should I add? What should I subtract? Whatever. And so I think in that 1 month's period of time, I probably worked on it 4 hours a day. 4 hours a day.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Because I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to remember it. I mean, in the short period of time.
And the thing with the TED is it's there forever, right? It's like a calling card for you. Anybody Googles your name, oh, there it is.
Yes.
You can't
Absolutely.
You can't wipe it off.
No, you got to get it right. You got to get it right. Exactly. Yes.
And it has the potential to reach millions of people.
That's right. That's right.
It's a great opportunity.
Thank you.
And did they approach you? Is it? How did that come about?
Great question. I was in a what was it called? A pitch
challenge.
A pitch. I don't know what it would call it, but it was a forum where they had different people who had podcasts, people who had TEDx stages. They were the panelists that were listening to us. And so we were all just giving our little 3-minute pitch. And so I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and do my thing, with all the excitement and passion I have.
Good on you, because a lot of people would just shy away from that in the first place.
Right. So I was like, yeah, let's go for it. So that was in, I want to say, November or December of 2023. And I didn't hear anything. Oh, I did get someone who wanted to do a podcast from me because of that. And then in April is when I said, they got the thing saying, hey, we want you on our TEDx stage. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you. And I didn't even know that the person was connected with that. I didn't know that they were a panelist.
Right.
So it wasn't until I got to the TEDx venue that I met the person, and they were like, yes, I was there on the thing.
There it goes.
Yes. So that's how that happened. Yeah.
I want to just go back briefly to the Les Brown story that you were telling, because there's a synergy there. Les Brown was here in Dubai in 2020.
Okay.
And I dragged my husband along to this event because I
Like me
I
and my
thought I
dragging
would
my son.
love to see Les Brown speak.
Yes.
And then, as you say, it was, over 2 days,
Yes.
another 20, 30 other speakers.
Right.
And we came away from that event having spent about $10,000 US
Okay.
on training programs
Yes.
in different, in
Yes.
stock options, in trading,
Yes.
in webinars. And for me, that was an incredibly pivotal moment in my career because prior to that, I had been doing one-on-one coaching. I had an in-person business in downtown Dubai.
Yeah.
People come in, I had people lining up outside the door, but every hour of my time was what I could charge for that hour and how many hours I had in a day.
Right.
And going to that event just pivoted everything for me. Yes. Suddenly I realized there is a global market out there. And then COVID hit right after that.
Oh, so you were right.
I had to
Mindset
close
shift.
my doors anyway.
Right.
And I was like, double down on learning how to do webinars, how to advertise to a global market.
Yes.
And since then I haven't looked back.
Awesome.
And also it changed my thinking into a growth mindset, investing in yourself. And I'd never really, at that point, I then went to a $5,000 investment.
Yes.
And I was like, that's a lot of money. And then from 5 to 15, and then another 18, and then every year, I think now I've spent over 100,000
Absolutely.
in investing in my own personal development. And I think you're a similar, mindset, right?
Right.
You believe
Absolutely.
in investing in yourself if you want to get to the next level.
And I've always been someone who loved education anyway. So I went, after I finished UCLA, I went and got my master's. And then I went and got my second master's. And then I went and got my PhD. So I believe in education anyway. So just because the only shift I had to make was understanding that education doesn't necessarily have to do with a university.
Right.
That was the only shift I had to make. And then after that, I was like, okay, I need to pay for this level of knowledge, this skill.
Right. So knowing that now, and that shift, I think is now going. We're heading that way more and more, especially as we've got AI now, and the possibilities to learn on demand.
Yes.
What do you think? And we talked about the education system at the beginning of this podcast, but do we need universities now? And okay, if you're going to be a doctor, yes, a lawyer, yes, certain, certain. What am I looking for? Careers and fields.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you do have to have a certain formal training for.
Right,
But
right.
other things like marketing, like creative things, like
I remember when I asked my son, I said, what books did you read when you started doing this Airbnb thing? What books did you read? He told me, there are no books on this because by the time the book comes out, the information is now obsolete. He said, so education now for us, and this was back when he was 21, because he's 25 now. Mm-hmm. He said, education for us who are motivated is we go on Instagram because there's somebody on Instagram who is teaching exactly what they're doing. And they're showing, hey, this is the Airbnb I got, and this is how I did it, and da-da-da-da. So they're teaching that way. And I'm like, this is a 21-year-old that has figured out but that's my kid.
Yeah.
That's what, hey, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, I can say the same for my kids. They're not at that level yet, but they do have that entrepreneurial mindset.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And it's the same thing. They're educated so much through social media.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good and bad.
Yeah. True, for sure.
All right, but you are a big TikTok user. And TikTok, well, it was threatened to be banned. It went dark on Friday.
Scared. I was so scared, like, oh no. And what's funny is for the 6.5 years, my whole business was on Facebook. So all of my clients came from Facebook or referrals. Okay, so I was doing fine. Well, then my son, I'm so happy I raised this kid because he is a thinker. Because that's what I created him to be, a thinker. And so he said, well, Mom, you're on Facebook all the time. You need to get on TikTok. And I was like, I don't want to do TikTok. It's people dancing, kids dancing, whatever. And then one day I was like, let me just try it. And I get on there and I do a video and it goes viral. And that video was talking about nothing that I do. It was just a random video back when the CEO of Cash App was killed. And I was like, okay, wait a minute now. If I could go viral on something that doesn't have to do with what I do, let me find a way to go viral on something that I do. Mm-hmm. And so then I started investing in myself and I paid somebody who knows how to do TikTok correctly right? I paid 2 people and I said, hey, teach me how to do the videos correctly. The second guy I paid, it was in, I think March, this past March.
Oh, wow.
And
That's not that long ago.
And he said, do it like this. And that's one thing I know how to do is follow instructions.
Okay.
So he said, do it like this. I did it like this. And like the second video I did after having a meeting with him went viral. It has like 1.2 million views.
Wow.
And from that one, my business just took off on TikTok.
Brilliant.
And now
I'm going to ask you for that name after this podcast.
for sure. I believe in sharing information. Yeah, exactly. You know, and he has a formula. And see, that's the thing of why my students are successful in the stock market, because I have a strategy, a formula. And the way I teach the stock market, because back to what you were saying, they made it seem like it's so difficult. It's not.
Yeah.
But they made it seem that way so they could keep certain people out.
Right.
There's a demographic. Every Wall Street movie you think about, who's in those movies and who is not in those movies.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that is the perception, then we look at that. There's another Wall Street movie and another one, and I don't see me reflected. So I guess it's not for me.
Yeah.
And I guess it's hard.
That's a good point. Yeah.
See, and then you get somebody like me who is an actual teacher.
Yes.
That learns it and sees the glitch in the matrix. How hot is it? Let me see. And then I figure it out, and I'm like, oh, you mean if I just teach the people this way, and this way, they can start making money?
Yeah.
So I started creating strategies. Okay? And I call, here's a strategy. Take 2 pieces of bread. Take a knife. Take some peanut butter. Open up the jar of peanut butter, put the knife in, scoop some up, and lay it on the bread. And that's how you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? Step by step by step.
Yep.
I teach people like that in the stock market.
So very simplified strategies, step-by-step processes.
Absolutely. One of my
you can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong.
You do this.
Absolutely.
For dummies.
You know, one of my strategies, I had it trademarked, and it's Dr. Kelly's purple unicorn strategy. And it sounds silly, but, you know, I teach it a certain way. I call it that just so people be like, what do you mean purple unicorn strategy? And when I break it down, they're like, oh, you just call it that. Okay, but all I got to do is this, and this, and I can make money in the stock market? Yes.
Who's your ideal customer? Because I went onto your TikTok and saw you going live.
Yeah.
It was yesterday, day before or something. Yeah, I saw you live. And you had such a great interaction with your audience.
Yes.
And you were so high energy and hyped and excited about the wins of your community.
Yes.
And it was really good to see. But
Thank you.
Who is your ideal customer? Do you have one?
Yes. So in business, they tell us, because, you know, I want to help everybody, because as a teacher, I help everybody. But then business tells you, if you want to help everybody, you help nobody.
Yeah.
So after I learned that, I'm like, okay, I have to define my ideal client avatar. Okay, let's see. And I said, you know what? Let me help the people that look like me.
Yeah.
You know, so it's African-American women between the ages of 35 and 60 who are employed and probably have 2 jobs, that are growth-minded, that are wealth-minded, that are trying to create generational wealth for their families.
Yep.
That's it.
And that's a big market.
Yeah. Because I help
very,
people with
very
everything.
distinct and very clear.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I can imagine that you have a lot of connection from people who can relate to you, and because you've been there as well. You've got your own story. You're not just somebody who's always had this. You've had to go through your journey.
That's correct. And I was the person I was looking for.
Yes.
You know, because I worked and I drove an hour and a half to work, and I drove an hour and a half home. In California, and I picked up my son in after school program, and then he had football practice, so I had to feed him, you know, Subway, which was better than McDonald's, and then I have to make sure all his football stuff is in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
We get there, and now we're at football practice from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., and then we get home, and I got to make sure his homework is done, and I got to make sure he's bathed and cleaned and all this stuff and bed to bed. You know what I'm saying? And every single day.
You're a single mom, so
I'm a single mom.
Yeah.
So there's 50 million of me out there.
Yep.
That know there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
There's got to be, because if I do this every single day like they tell me to, okay, but I'm doing that till I'm 65, and by that time I'm gonna be tired.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be miserable because I'm not able to do the things I want to do.
And you still don't have the financial wealth to be able to go and do the things you really would like to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's who I am.
So that's who you are now. And you're in Dubai right now.
Yes,
and you were, last I saw, you were in Madrid. So where is next? So from what I can tell, you are, tripping around the world.
Yes.
Able to to work and help people from wherever you are, because
Absolutely.
you've built a business that works with a laptop, with a phone.
That's right.
And you're not bound to being in an office. You're not bound to being stuck in traffic.
Right, right.
You can, go in and do those exciting activities that you love so much anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So where's next?
I'm going to be going to, we're going in July, we're going to Kenya and Tanzania. Now, I've been there before. I've been to 60 different countries. But someone was like, hey, let's go. I've never been before. And I'm like, okay, I'll go with you. Because I'm like, I want to go to all 195 countries. Yeah. And I'm like, I want to go other places, but I'll go. Okay, cool. So that's the next thing. But where I haven't been yet, I do want to go to Korea. I do want to go to Cameroon. I do want to go to Taiwan.
Because Cameroon, you have a family background there.
When I did my DNA,
Yep.
I found Cameroon was where my people are from.
And
so
DuCloux. It's not a Cameroon name.
No. So on my dad's side, when we did that family research, we found out that there was a Jacques DuCloux that came over from France and a Eva from Germany. And though they ended up getting married in, I want to say Louisiana. And so my dad's people are from Mobile, Alabama, which is the birthplace of Mardi Gras, which I didn't know until recently. So that's that side of the family. So
Well, Kelli, it's been amazing having you on the podcast. I could just keep talking and talking with you.
Yes.
But maybe we'll have to have you on for a second episode.
That would be great.
When you come back again. Yeah.
Yes, I would love that.
Where can we find you? TikTok, Instagram?
Yes. So
what's your
definitely on
backup for TikTok, by the way, if it does end up going dark?
So I had to open up a Red Note and a fan base and an Instagram and YouTube. But on TikTok, that's where my biggest community is. And so I'm Dr. Kelli on TikTok. And do you know there are 5,000 people pretending to be me?
5,000?
I have personally sent in requests to TikTok. I've done at least 180 myself. That are like, hey, this is reporting. This is somebody stealing my picture, stealing my stuff, stealing this, stealing my pic.
But you got to take it as a bit of a compliment, I guess, in a way that you're doing something right.
I guess.
I had one person impersonate me on Instagram, and we got it shut down pretty quickly. But I thought, that's kind of nice in a way. It means I'm obviously worth impersonating.
Right, yeah. So please make sure it's Dr. Kelli, DrKelli. There's no dots, no periods, no underlines, no extra numbers, no 3 L's in Kelly, only 2 and 1 I. So
we will put the link in the show notes, just definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, it's been amazing having you on the show. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I've enjoyed this. It's been so much fun.
Same. Okay, till the next time.
For sure. Thank you.
Okay.
All righty.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Impact Through Voice podcast. Now, if you've reached the end of this episode, then it means you're enjoying the podcast. So I have a quick favor to ask. If you haven't yet subscribed, please go and do it now and even leave us a review, because it really does help us so much to reach more people and impact more people. And I would be very, very grateful. Now, I love to read all of your comments about the show and what you're enjoying, what you would like to hear more of. So please take the time and go and do that now. When you do that, please take a screenshot and then tag me on Facebook or Instagram. That's Lisa Hugo Official. I'm going to be sure to share your post, and I'm also going to private DM you with a thank you. And it also means you won't miss an episode. And as a subscriber, then you're going to get access to more content that we don't even open up to everybody. So thanks again. And until next time, keep on working towards your goals and making a positive impact on the world with your voice.